Lockdown and holiday means parents must find ways to keep the young ones busy. And early childhood development innovator Meg Faure says the best way to do it is through play. She joins me now via Zoom to elaborate a bit more. Thank you very much for your time, Meg. Now, first of all, a lot of parents would much rather send their children to their grandmothers during the festive season to enjoy the time there. But that also makes it difficult for the grandmother to keep the children busy. What are some of the tips that you can give to parents and grandmothers and relatives about how to keep their young ones busy?
Look, I don't think we need to spend too much money to keep little ones busy. I think we often think that we need expensive toys and fabulous outings, but the reality is that it's often the most simple things that keep kiddies occupied for the longest. So activities outdoors are really good for this season because obviously the more we're outdoors, the less we have chance of catching the virus. But also it's things like, going to the park, going for a walk in the forest. If you're at home, setting up an obstacle course, just take all the cushions off the couch, pop them in an obstacle course and let your little one kind of crawl through and move through that. And then another fabulous idea for grandparents, if they're looking after the little ones, is to give them treasure hunts. So tell them like scavenger hunts, please go and find me 3 feathers or 2 stones or, things around the garden. And it keeps them busy for ages as they hunt for these little things.
Would a lot of people, when they think early childhood development, they also think of books that children must read or books that must be read to the children. How important is this as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, language development is without question one of the most important aspects of development. Verbal IQ is very important in academic life later on. And the way to enhance this early on is through A, speaking a lot to your child, and B, reading to them. So reading is critically important. And I think in every day over the holidays, try and incorporate some reading into the daily activities for sure.
Now, there's also that aspect of rest. I mean, if your child is a toddler and a very active one, I assume those naps in between the days is also important, but will that affect maybe when they sleep at night?
Yeah, so naps are very important. It's quite interesting that from after the age of 1, little ones only need 1 nap a day. Otherwise, it will impact their sleep at night. So if you've got a 14-month-old and they're still having 2 sleeps in the day, it is worth narrowing it down into just 1 sleep. But from 14 months onwards, all the way until 5 years of age, little ones need either a nap or a rest time. And it's quite nice for us as parents and grandparents to actually have that downtime ourselves. So make it very regular that at 12 o'clock every day, they go to their bedroom. Even if they don't want to sleep, that's fine, but give them the opportunity to have a good rest. And if your little one's little still, so like 2 or 3 years old, you'll probably find they'll actually fall asleep at over that nap.
You mentioned something very important earlier about affordability and the fact that we don't need to spend too much money or money at all, actually, to keep our children busy. What advice would you give to those who are taking their children to the rural areas where there's not really much to, kind of play with, but more things that can be used to become creative?
Yeah, it's quite interesting you say that. You use the word creativity there. And the reality is that when we give children fancy toys, we actually take away their creativity. And by having very simple activities, we enhance creativity. So something as simple as a wheel or something as simple as a cardboard box, for instance, can become anything you want in the world. And that's really how we can increase creativity. So I would say go for the simple activities and simple toys more than fancy ones. One of the things that we have done, I have a business called PlaySense, and we have an online curriculum that we run for children throughout the year that parents generally have to pay for. But what we've done for this December is we've opened it up completely for free to parents. So they can log on to Playcation, so it's PlaySense/Playcation, sign up, and they will actually get 2 free activities per day to do with their little ones. We've kept them really simple, and they're according to 4 different themes: bugs, jungle, dinosaurs and fantasy, and they can buy the very, very simple activity kits, the stuff that they need from any retailer or corner shop. And really, it's kind of a free opportunity to just stimulate your little one, which is important for development, but also actually have some ideas, which I think parents at this time of year are running out of ideas of what to do with their little ones.
Some parents, when they think early childhood development, they seem to think it's the responsibility of the education department. It's the responsibility of, for instance, some of the preschools that we send our children to. And of course, some parents spend a lot of money sending their children to these preschools. But how important is it also, Meg, that parents spend time with their children? How important is this for their development?
It's critically important. In fact, I would say that your expensive preschools should come secondary to what you're doing with your child yourself. And I know that that's hard. I'm a mum of 3, and I know that sometimes we've got parenting fatigue. But actually, all your little one wants is to engage with you and be stimulated by it doesn't have to be fancy games like puzzles and that type of thing. It's just simple games. And, one of the best things parents can do, and again, this is a free activity that can be done anywhere, is to actually help their child to access their imagination, which will then tie in with creativity. So how do you do that? You actually can set up scenarios for your little one to play imaginary games with you. So you can say to them, come, let's go on an aeroplane and fly to Cape Town now. And you can set up a couple of little chairs in the garden and go and sit and say, are you going to be the captain or must I be the captain? And, you kind of, they take on a role, they take on a scenario, and very quickly they will immerse themselves. And you'll find like half an hour later, you've played a game of aeroplanes for ages with them. And that is a way that you can engage with your child, that they'll develop language and creativity and imagination, which are really core capacities for the future and for education.
Well, let's leave it there, that important conversation. Thank you very much, Meg Faure.